30 seconds and counting.
Hey, what's good, yo? Welcome back to another video. It's Anish, and I'm joined with Roman. And we have some news for y'all. The Texans interview Brian Flores for the second time, and this time it's in person. And so before I begin the video, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more Texans updates. And Brian Flores, he seems to be one of the three finalists for the Texans, the other two being Jonathan Gannon, Eagles defensive coordinator, who has received two interviews, who has two interviews, and Josh McCown, who has also received two interviews. So very interesting for the Texans as those three being the finalists. And apparently, according to Aaron Wilson, Brian Flores and the Texans have maintained a dialogue ever since his initial Zoom interview. And obviously with Brian Flores, he provides the unique background of being a coach in New England and coinciding with Nick Caserio's time there. And Brian Flores, to me, he brings a lot of experience, a lot of diversity in his resume as well, being a former scout, something that Nick Caserio can definitely relate to. It doesn't seem like, I think he'd be a solid hire, especially for a team going through a rebuild, considering that he joined a rebuilding team in the Dolphins. They started 5-11. They went to 10-6. His second season, and then 9-8. His last season there. So Roman, what do you make of Brian Flores, and how would you feel if he was the future Texans head coach?
Yeah, I would love him as a head coach for the Houston Texans personally. He would bring a lot to this football team, especially the thing that you said about the former scouting thing. I'm sure Nick Caserio would really, really value that a lot. Especially considering that Nick Caserio was a former, probably still helps a lot in the scouting department, and he did a lot in New England. And to say that he hit on pretty much almost every draft pick last year, I'm sure he definitely helped in the scouting department. And to bring in another guy that can come help him, and that being a defensive or a head coach that could kind of like have an eye for defensive talent. We all know that Brian Flores is mainly a defensive guy. He's very good at calling different defensive schemes, I guess, different game plans and stuff. And one thing that I really want to go back to, the main thing is the week. I'm not sure what week it was. I think it was like a Monday night or Thursday night game. It was against the Baltimore Ravens. And in the first quarter, it looked like the Baltimore Ravens, they were just going to absolutely not blow out Miami, but it looked like they were going to win pretty convincingly, just based on like the first quarter, like being able to control the ball, control the run game. And then Brian Flores, I'm sure he had a big say in it, but the Miami Dolphins defense, they started doing zero blitz almost every play. And it just kind of shut down Lamar in the run game, the pass game, it shut down everything pretty much. And that's kind of what let them win that game. And if he can come to Houston, do different things like that, in-game adjustments, something that we really haven't had for a while. We didn't really have it with Bill O'Brien. We didn't really have it with David Culley, of course. And having a coach that could come in, have in-game adjustments, help us win games on the fly, come in on short weeks, like if it's like a Thursday night game or something like that, come in really fast weeks and have really good adjustments, that would be huge for this football team. And defense, as we know, defense is kind of what wins you games. Of course, offense helps, but like defense, if you don't have a sound defense, example for the 49ers, then you're not going to have a good chance in the football game. But yeah, personally, I would really, really like Brian Flores.
Yeah, and Brian Flores' defenses are very top tier, like you mentioned, Roman. He has a real blitz heavy defense, and he runs more of a 3-4 than a 4-3. So it would have to be another transition for the players on our team to make another adjustment. But most of the players on our defense are free agents, and so Nick Caserio would have to pick and choose who fits Brian Flores' scheme more. So I feel like that shouldn't be too much of an issue, but I guess for the guys who we did draft earlier, like Ross Blacklock, who excelled more in the 4-3 system than 3-4, it would be a bigger adjustment for some of those guys. But again, he was a leader of men. A lot of players and like media and generally NFL fans are really like thrown off by his firing. And so and the reason why he was fired from Miami was because of relationships with Chris Greer over personnel decisions, including drafting Tua Tagovailoa. But still, a lot of players still love playing for Brian Flores. I don't think that should be left out of mind. So I mean, Brian Flores, like what he said in his exit interview. He said, "I'm grateful most of all for the players, coaches, and support staff who gave everything they had on a daily basis to help us win games. They deserve the credit for any success on the field, and it was an honor of a lifetime for me to go to work with them every day. I've always believed that leadership is really about service, and I did my best to serve the players, the staff, and the organization every day. I believe in this team and will always value the relationships my family and I made here." So Brian Flores, it seems like um, it just seems like he and the front office didn't get on the same terms. But if he were to be hired by the Texans, I feel like Nick Cassero and Brian Flores, both having that same New England background, they wouldn't really disagree on too much because they would. It's likely that they would share the same philosophies. So in that regard, I feel like that wouldn't be an issue. And so for to those thinking like that, like he wouldn't be a fit here because of relationships, feel like that wouldn't be the issue. And Nick Cassero and Easterby both have a great relationship with him. And I said it when Nick Cassero was hired by Easterby. Like, if Easterby played a role in getting us a good general manager, I can't even be mad at Easterby. And if he does the same thing in us, plays a role in us hiring Flores, I guess same thing. It's a good coach nonetheless. So I guess in that regard, it's fine. And I just want to bring up something very interesting. Obviously, this is all speculation, but Deshaun Watson liked a tweet saying that some of your greatest victories in life will be won if you just stay where you are. Obviously, this can be interpreted in many ways, but apparently, Brian Flores and Deshaun Watson have a relationship with each other. Brian Flores being Deshaun Watson's preferred head coach. I feel like if the Texans were to hire Flores, it'd be kind of us like lending over a olive branch to Watson, trying to make amends and see if that changes Watson's mind about the organization, whether it's supporting him or not. And obviously, just the phrase "just stay where you are" it could either mean just like stay with the Texans or hold your ground. Don't let anyone change your position. So Roman, what do you think about that kind of speculation? Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, something that's definitely very interesting. And one thing that I kind of see is that Brian Flores and the Houston Texans are keeping contact ever since that first mini virtual meeting. And if they were keeping in contact like in between, obviously it could be for a bunch of different things. Like if he would rather have his own staff or something like that, or be talking about like contracts, different things. There's a bunch of different things that they could have talked about during those separate little, I guess, phone calls or whatever they were. But maybe something also that could have been is talking about Deshaun. Like, can you get Deshaun on the phone? Is am I gonna be able to have draft picks for him, or am I gonna be able to use him, or what's the whole thing with Deshaun? And the thing about the whole liking the tweet thing, yeah, as you said, it could mean a ton of different things. From even going back to his legal things, it could mean something like that, hold your ground, or it could be hold your ground, he wants out, or not hold your ground, just stay where you are, type of thing. But yeah, it can mean a bunch of different things. Personally, do I think he would come back? I mean, it seems unlikely, but there's been crazier things that have happened. And as you said, there's been multiple reports that Deshaun would rather play for Brian Flores, that he really likes Brian Flores. And if Deshaun looks at it from a football standpoint, staying in Houston, honestly, it's his best bet. Like wherever he goes, New York, they already said they don't want him pretty much. Miami, they publicly said they don't want him. Who knows what they think on the in the inside part of it. And there's really not many teams that he could go to that are gonna be like so much, I guess, better or have a better future than the Texans. Like if he stays here, you have a new head coach that you supposedly reportedly like playing for or that you would love to play for. And then you have the number 3 pick in the NFL draft where you could either draft a franchise cornerstone, trade back. There's a bunch of different things. Like if he thinks about it from a football standpoint, it makes sense to stay here. But it's a bunch of different things that you have to look at for both sides. Maybe the Texans don't even want him anymore. But yeah, it's definitely very interesting.
And of course, we can't just simply neglect the legal aspect of things, whether the Texans want to hold on to a guy with Deshaun's like recent legal troubles. So who knows what happens, but that's also a reason why teams are hesitant to trade for him is because he does bring that huge like like cloud over him, with all this legal situation stuff. So it's just something to consider. I don't know if it will happen or it won't, but yeah, like again, just more on Brian Flores. He's done a great job with his defenses, and like Roman mentioned, like defense wins championships. And it's one thing to note that he's 4-2 against Bill Belichick, and who everyone says he's the greatest coach of all time. And to do that with his Dolphins teams against Bill Belichick is something to note. And he was also the defensive signal caller during Super Bowl 53 against the Patriots win over the Los Angeles Rams. So even though he hasn't had experience as a defensive coordinator, he still is part of is plays a huge role in building a great defense. So, and I think the Texans' upcoming draft will be mainly that. I feel like because since it was mainly free agents this time, Nick Casario will try to plug those talent deficiencies with actual rookies instead of players on 1-year contracts. So we'll see how that goes. Roman, any final thoughts on Flores? Or
Yeah, no, just pretty much everything you said. Look to draft defense if we do hire him, type of things. But yeah, I would really, really love the hiring. Just going back on that thing. But yeah, let's see and wait and hope something develops over the next couple of days. Because the Senior Bowl, as we know, I think it starts like over the next one day, or it's about to start or something like that. So hiring a head coach right before the Senior Bowl would really, really be important, especially with all the defensive talent there at the Senior Bowl. So yeah, let's wait and see.
yeah, and that's pretty much it for the video. Let us know your thoughts on Brian Flores. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.